Good morning. So I'm going to admit, I'm like a dog on a bone when I feel like I've been kind of screwed over, even when it's my own doing. Like if I chose the wrong grocery line, and then that's when there's a price check. Or, you go into the wrong toll booth and that's when somebody either doesn't have their money or their, Easy Pass isn't working or whatever. So even on those circumstances, I have that moment of, oh, I can't believe I just did that to myself. I chose a vet for my animals. It was originally for all my animals, horses and dogs, based on house call availability, mobile vet. I was excited at the idea that I was going to have a vet that could come and take care of my dogs at my house instead of me having to pack up all my dogs and put them in my truck and risk, the nails puncturing the leather seats and stuff like that. So I always was concerned about that, and I was like, wow, bonus, somebody's going to come to me. In discussion, they warned me what it would cost me to have them basically come through the gate, and it was going to cost me like $60 per animal just to come through my gate, not to do anything else. And then it was like $60 per animal for an exam. And I was like, oh yeah, I have way too many animals to afford that. So yeah, no. I think I even asked about shared farm call and it wasn't an option. I also pointed out that my horses had just been transported and my health certificates, my health exams were not even expired yet. So I really didn't need all my horses re-examined. I knew, examined. And could we forego that? And that wasn't an option. So I said, well, then, I still wanted the mobility for my dogs. So they came for my dogs. The vet was very nice, had a little bit of extra syrup on her customer service friendliness, but I also was accepting that maybe that's something I have to get used to around here compared to New York anyway. So I just kind of like wrote that off as that. A little side note, that's kind of a little pet peeve of mine. I don't like when people pretend to be friendlier than they are. Then, while the vet was here, I was going to also get heartworm pills because we ran the heartworm test and we were good to go. So we're going to get heartworm pills too. And my large animal vet had always been very candid with me about if you can avoid buying anything off their truck, you'll save money because they upcharge quite a bit to buy off their truck. And I always appreciated that candor, and have always, when possible, always purchased through like an online pharmacy. So I mentioned an online pharmacy perhaps being what I would like to do instead, and she said, no, that's not how we do it. Well, you can do it right off our truck, and we'll even, price match, an online pharmacy of your choice. So purchased all that. My 3 dogs and their wellness exam and shots was $1,300. Ouch. Couldn't even imagine what it would have been with the horses. So, whatever. I had one dog that was going to need to be spayed. So that obviously was a vet visit where the dog went with me to the vet. I did not know I was going to someone's house. Again, it's like you have like one of those mental notes of this is different. But I had a dentist when I was a kid that worked out of his house, and he had a full, normal looking, functional office, exam rooms, the whole 9 yards in his house. So it's something that people do. Fine. It was COVID time still, so my dog was taken from me outside and brought inside, and I was, see you later. Okay. I come back later to pick up my dog, and I find my dog. My dog is returned to me with the IV port still in her leg, like the catheter still in her leg. And she's returned to me that way. Like, see you later, have a nice day, thank you very much. And I saw it, thank God. And I brought my dog back and had them take that out. So I did receive an apology for that. But while I was there waiting for my dog to be brought in, I was listening to this lady freaking out that she didn't know her dog. She thought her dog was going in just for dental cleaning. She didn't know that they were going to be extracting teeth and stuff like that. And her $1,800 bill was not only a shock to her, she was a senior citizen, so she was also like, how am I going to pay for this, right? So that was a little upsetting to witness as somebody who didn't know that they were going to have procedures done that they didn't authorize, or potentially, even if it needed to be done, like I understand that, like, hey, the dog's already under, it needs to be done, we're just going to do it. However, I do think sending somebody to go make a quick call would have been probably something that I would have imagined would have been better practice. But it's not for me to say that they didn't try to call her, whatever. So this lady was surprised by this. I'm going to pause for a second because I have to do something real quick. Okay, so then my dog has a UTI. So I do it as an emergency because she was acting really funny. So I took her and I did a urine catch on her, and we brought her in and we did a urinalysis and an exam, and also purchased heartworm pills while we were there. And she gave me a rebate thing to get a discount, to get a rebate on the heartworm pills. Take her home. The next day, I'm looking at my bill and I'm looking online and I'm noticing that I could have bought those heartworm pills for a lot less. So I hadn't opened them yet, so I reached out and said, look, I found these a lot cheaper, and you had said that you do, based on our first visit, that you do price matching. And I would rather bring them back. I haven't opened them yet. Can I just bring them back and I'll buy them on Chewy or something instead? And she said, no, we'll do that. We'll price match, whatever. So they price match, and two things. One, I end up finding out that I paid $88 more than had I bought them somewhere else. And then, like a year later, I actually realized, because I stumbled on that rebate thing, I realized that what I was charged, like what that difference was the rebate amount. So I can only assume that the upcharge on these medications was based on knowing that if the customer did send in for the rebate, they'd get their money back, that they overpaid. Okay. and like, check your bills, you know what I'm saying? Check your bills, because you never know what somebody's trying to get over on you. So do a urinalysis 2 weeks later and go home with medication. 2 weeks later, she's still not better. I'm offered to do another urinalysis. Don't understand that at all. 2 weeks later, we're going to do another urinalysis that determines, yep, urinary tract infection. The culture I understood. So now we also run a culture. Culture I understood. Urinalysis I didn't understand. Another $100. So the money she put back into my bank, or credited me, is now back in her bank for an unnecessary test. So next up is the dog's not really ever better, but then we have a wicked flare up, and we're doing this again. So another urine catch, another exam, another urinalysis, and this time we do ultrasound. She does the ultrasound with one that she uses her phone, and she thinks she sees gas. So then, just for confirmation, I assume, she goes and gets another machine, sees the same thing, says, I can make it move, so must be gas. Okay. Then she tells me, now this is just someone's honest mistake, you don't tell your client that you have another machine that could probably, tell us confirmation one way or another, yes, gas, or no, maybe not. But it takes too long to set up. So I'm here. I brought my dog here. My dog is sick. You have another diagnostic piece of equipment, but you can't be bothered because it takes too long to set up. You just shouldn't have told me you had it, I guess, because, now I know that you have something that you could have done more. So go home with yet another medication. And still 20 days later, because the medication was 20 days worth. So 20 days later, I'm like, look, here's the update. She's still not better. Still having the exact same symptoms, still having accidents in the house, still seeming very uncomfortable. What do we do now? I'm offered to come in and do an ultrasound, which we already did, too, and x-rays. And now I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to just keep dealing with a vet that likes to do repeat tests, I think I'm going to just take my dog to a different vet. So I did. When I asked for my records, there was an entry on my records that does not correspond with any communication. Like, there was a date and said that I declined further testing. No correspondence happened on that date at all. None. So I thought that was a little odd too. Like, I'm going to take my dog somewhere else, and now you're trying to cover your ass, basically, right? You're going to claim that I formally said, no, I don't want to do any further testing. You wouldn't have known for 10 more days that I was going to take my dog somewhere else. So you just backtracked and put this entry in there to make it look like this was based on a correspondence between us, which it was not. Fine. So I got a little irritated by that and said, you know what, just give me all my dog's records, because you're not even honest. You weren't honest on money, on the price of things. You weren't honest in running duplicate testing. You weren't honest in, just making entries in my paperwork that didn't apply to anything, didn't correspond with anything that we had between ourselves. Then I go to this new vet right off the bat. Urinalysis, culture, ultrasound, x-rays, all in the first shot. Now, I knew that. I knew we were going to do that because we'd already done so much, and now we just need to know. But if I'm going to do duplicate testing, I want a different set of eyes, is basically even what I said. I want someone else to look at her. The ultrasound was $40 compared to the other places $100. The culture was $58 compared to somebody else's $99. The urinalysis was $58 compared to $99, and the culture was $255 compared to $313. Check your bills, people. Check your bills, because you don't know if you're just helping somebody build their new building